I? Where have you taken me? What are you? My name is Dr. Lyle Getz. I'm a high-ranking member of the Advanced Idea Mechanics, and I'm in line to become the new Scientist Supreme. No. No. You're not me! But I am. I am Lyle Getz now. Every memory, every emotion, everything that makes you who you are, now belongs to me.
The concept of body snatchers and UFO abductions has always been a core fear of human beings. So it makes sense that the imaginative world of Marvel Comics would take that concept and run with it. In the newest Marvel Disney Plus show, it stars Samuel Jackson as the evasive Nick Fury, who is still hiding in the shadows, but this time he must confront a new world threat on his own in 2023 Secret Invasion, which is loosely based on the 2008 crossover comic event with the exact same name. But before you watch this new show, I feel the need to reveal to you that another Marvel show has already done a faithful adaptation of the Secret Invasion comic, the show being 2010's Avengers Earths Mightiest Heroes. And perhaps it did even better than the new show will do. Let's find out together as we analyze the show and the original comic.
I want to believe.
First, let's start at the beginning. In 2008, where the 8-issue comic book run of Secret Invasion, written by Brian Bendis, was released with the multi-comic book crossover occurring across all Marvel comics, that were even advertised with a creepy ad campaign about embracing change.
No, they are among us.
The story takes place after the Civil War event. It involves a subversive, long-term invasion of Earth by the Skrull Empire, a group of alien shapeshifters who have secretly replaced many superheroes, figureheads, politicians, and celebrities in the Marvel Universe, with imposters over a period of years prior to the Secret Invasion event.
Stop. Just back up. Where did this thing come from?
Space.
Cute.
The Skrulls are an alien race that have always existed in Marvel Comics, originally looking like this. But it wasn't until this event that they revealed what a threat they could truly be. Through genetics and techno-sorcery, Skrulls are able to shapeshift, becoming completely undetectable by science or magic.
His essence is mine now.
Also, there are several people in the Avengers with heightened senses that could have detected an imposter, but the Skrulls evaded even them. Even Spider-Man's spider sense could not detect them. The Skrulls learned to duplicate superpowers from the genes of captured superhumans, and to improve their warriors they would mix-match several powers or attributes of captured heroes.
Humans, you think you're special? Even your powers, we can make more powerful.
To take it even a step further, they wanted to make sure even small details a person may ask them about could not give them away. For example, in the comic, Hawkeye encounters his wife Mockingbird during a battle, and to make sure she's not an imposter, he asks her personal questions about a specific date. She reveals that the date he asked about was the day that she had a miscarriage. Believing that the Skrulls could never know that, Hawkeye is relieved, only to have that notion immediately shattered when Reed Richards reveals the Skrulls' true identities, enraging Hawkeye and proving how meticulous the Skrulls' infiltration really was. For the sleeper agent Skrulls in the comics, their masquerade was so perfect that even a few didn't even realize they were Skrulls until they had been activated. And there were even a few, like Skrull Marvel, who had an identity crisis when he found out. It is one of my favorite comic book stories for nuances such as this, full of distrust and intrigue. Despite being a hassle to collect all the spin-off comics from the 8-issue, I still enjoyed how engrossing the story was. But I never would have read the comic if it hadn't been for one of the greatest superhero cartoons of my childhood, giving me a taste for it. No, not that one. This one. Avengers Earths Mightiest Heroes was a 2-season animated series that is well beloved by Marvel fans for being so accurate to the classic Golden Age comics, as well as adapting some of the comics during the 2000s, such as this one. One of the multi-episode story arcs that was used in the show's second season was the Secret Invasion story. While possessing many similarities to the comic, The show did make enough changes to keep the story intriguing for readers of the comic, so if you don't like spoilers, this is your only warning. The Secret Invasion arc lasts for 12 episodes, with a few episodes only having name drops or cameos of the Skrulls. It is in this episode, Who Do You Trust?, that truly dives into the Secret Invasion arc, ending with the title episode, Secret Invasion.
Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna run? Where are you gonna hide? Nowhere. Because there's no one like you left.
The Skrulls' existence is first revealed by none other than Kang the Conqueror. In the episode Come the Conqueror, he reveals the future of Earth being destroyed due to a catastrophic war that would occur over the Earth between the Kree and the Skrull empires. And he vaguely explains that Captain America will play a large role in that timeline occurring. Having their hands full with Kang's own invasion, the Avengers don't give it much thought, but the name Skrull is put in the back of their minds. The Kree Empire most certainly makes their presence known immediately, with a good old-fashioned invasion, which the Avengers easily deter for the moment. The Secret Invasion event is finally brought into the spotlight in the Season 1 episode Widow's Sting, where Hawkeye and the Avengers infiltrate Hydra Island, and in the chaos, Mockingbird encounters a Skrull imposter off-screen. The ending of the Season 1 finale episode, titled A Day Unlike Any Other, continues the story further, where one of the Avengers is replaced by a Skrull.
But then I saw it. Viper changed, right in front of me. She changed into this.
Them aliens are here to take over the world! Lester, I told you to keep it down or you'll have to leave. Oh, you have to keep quiet.
When the Kree Empire arrive in the episode Welcome to the Kree Empire, they seemingly beat the Skrulls to their own invasion. This forces the Skrull and the Avengers team to sabotage the negotiations and force the Avengers to engage in combat with the Kree, which would have happened either way, but the Skrull personally instigated it. The Skrulls are very self-aware of the Kree invasion tactics and attempt to lower humanity's securities by doing the opposite with the hope that they could conquer them before the Kree can return.
What sword? We're the agency responsible for dealing with alien threats.
Well, I hope they fire you.
Accelerating their plans, the Skrulls infiltrated every important organization on the planet, including the likes of S.H.I.E.L.D., SWORD, Hydra, and AIM, not to mention numerous governments of the world, all except one, a little country called Latveria, ruled by the one and only Dr. Doom. While it is never explained in the show, we can assume that the Skrulls failed to infiltrate Doom's government because he surrounds himself with only machines like Lucia von Bardis. At some point, Doom became aware of the Skrulls' movements and desired to study them to learn how to identify them. With precise accuracy, Doom deduced that either Sue Storm of the Fantastic Four or Wasp of the Avengers had been replaced. But in order to prove this theory, he needed to kidnap them for study, which he did in the first episode of Season 2, titled The Private War of Dr. Doom. Despite the Avengers' interference, which Doom brushed off with his iron fist, his efforts proved fruitful when the data revealed that Sue Storm was indeed a Skrull. Despite Iron Man destroying his genetic scanner, Doom had enough data to develop the means of detecting the undetectable Skrulls. This is where the first alteration from the comics occurs, with Doom making the Skrull detector instead of Reed Richards.
I would like a word with you, Stark. Searching for the Skrulls hidden among us.
What do you know about the Skrulls?
That which you do not, Avenger. I know how to find them.
Through techno-sorcery, Doom developed a genetic reset key chip that Iron Man could use for his incomplete detection device to reveal the Skrulls' true forms. It is here that Doom makes known that he does not wish to help the Avengers, but instead is looking out for his own interests to rule the world, with the Skrull invasion still being beneath his involvement.
You gonna fight them with me?
That would be beneath me. Such chores are what people like you are for.
He's so cool in this. Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., had also become aware of the Skrulls' secret invasion when Mockingbird brought him the dead body of Madame Viper, who was also a Skrull imposter. After this revelation, he left S.H.I.E.L.D. due to not being able to trust anyone, and creating his own secret ops team. Instead of the Secret Warriors or Howling Commandos, this team included Mockingbird, Black Widow, and Quake. These 3 women would help him collect data and monitor the Skrulls' movements, serving as his eyes and ears, or I guess just his one eye. In many ways, they were basically Charlie's Angels, or more appropriately, titled Fury's Angels.
This is Widow.
This is Quake. Phase 1 is go.
They eventually brought Tony Stark into the fold, revealing the body of Skrull Viper, being very reminiscent of the panel where Tony Stark and the Illuminati learned that Elektra was a Skrull. Unfortunately, this causes Tony Stark to become very paranoid, which is enhanced when Nick Fury tells him that a Skrull's phone call was made from Avengers Mansion.
Tony, the other communication came from your mansion. The Avengers have been infiltrated.
What a twist!
I just got back from meeting with Nick Fury, and I've got a quick question I need to ask. Is anyone here a shape-shifting alien?
Can't believe he just came out and asked them if they were Skrulls.
This is a man who kept his secret identity for about 5 minutes.
I am Iron Man.
Tony Stark is then led to believe that Clint Barton, aka Hawkeye, is the Skrull imposter since he was in prison on Hydra Island, and could have been replaced during that time. This leads to a confrontation where Iron Man is distrustful of the Avengers, but especially Hawkeye, and demands that he surrenders himself to S.W.O.R.D., where they can determine if Hawkeye is human or not. Outraged by the accusation, Hawkeye resists arrest, and what follows is a mini Civil War event, with Ms. Marvel taking Tony's side and Hulk taking Hawkeye's side.
Stop this. Hawkeye's one of us.
I've saved this team more times than I could count. I've helped save the world. I'm not some alien.
Come in with me to S.W.O.R.D. We'll sort this all out.
How about this? If you don't put your arms down, you're gonna lose them. Hawkeye's with me.
Earned my place on this team, and I've earned your trust, Stark. You and Miss Rules here, you need to back off, right now.
I'm sorry, Hawkeye. You're going with Ms. Marvel, one way or another. We'll find a way to determine if you're who you say you are. And if you're not a Skrull, then you've got nothing to worry about, right?
Yeah? Unless you're a Skrull, or Miss Marvel is.
Let's... everyone just breathe. Everyone just...
After a short but amazing brawl, Captain America convinces Tony that this is not the right way to determine if Skrulls are among them. Ashamed of his actions, Iron Man abandons the team. T'Challa leaves as well to go protect Wakanda. Ms. Marvel leaves to return to S.W.O.R.D. to monitor alien activity.
What the enemy wants. To tear us apart with paranoia and mistrust. To win the war without ever firing a shot.
And the remaining Avengers decide to stay together to resolve the issue on their own way.
Thank you, Cap.
It is after this that the Skrull imposter in the Avengers is revealed to be none other than Captain America himself. At this point, we know Cap is a Skrull, which is why it confused me as to why he would want to keep the team together. But I eventually settled with the simple answer that Skrull Captain America kept them together so he'd just take them out one at a time, like he did to the Hulk.
What's some Skrull gonna do to me?
I could warn him, intervene. But the fate of his universe is not worth risking the safety of all others. Besides, I doubt he'd listen.
Surprisingly, without the Skrull's involvement, the Hulk is framed by the Red Hulk for a rampage, and when the Hulkbusters arrive to arrest him, all the other Avengers are incapacitated, giving Skrull Captain America the opportunity to get rid of him by using the trust Hulk had in Cap to make him surrender.
No. No! Don't let them take...
It is not until many episodes later in the episode The Most Dangerous Man Alive that the Hulk is finally freed and proven innocent.
Surrender worked out great, didn't it? Banner, we're here to get you out.
Bruce, stay calm. We lost him.
In the next episode, Prisoners of War, we find out that Cap and all the other humans that have been replaced are still alive, but being held captive on a Skrull ship.
Something you'd like to tell us?
After failure to retrieve any sort of useful data from Captain America on how to subjugate the humans, the Skrull captain decides to fake a rescue for Cap.
There is nothing special about Captain America.
But Mama Ray's no fool, and he uses the situation to make his escape. Once Cap escapes the prison block, he forces the interrogator to explain the Skrull's intentions. This captured Skrull explains that after centuries of being at war with the Kree Empire, the Skrulls were decimated, even further by the arrival of Galactus, who devoured their homeworld of Skrullos, scattering the Skrull Empire, explaining why they were using covert tactics to conquer Earth instead of military force like the Kree did.
The end had come, for Galactus is a force of nature. He cannot be reasoned with or bargained with. He has no conscience or mercy. He only consumes. The Skrull people were scattered across the galaxy. There were rumors, however, a belief that the same prophecy that foretold the end of Skrullos told of a new Skrull homeworld. Our agents have been on your world for over a year now, learning, infiltrating. We have replaced humans in key strategic locations, all to facilitate the transition. I only tell you this because the invasion you spoke of, it is already over. You lost.
At this point, I would like to clarify on the Skrulls' objectives within the show and even the comic. The Skrulls do not want to destroy the Earth, they just want to enslave the human population, so they can supplant them as the sole authority of Earth, which they treat as their holy land.
What do you want? Why are you doing this?
This is our world. It was promised to us, as it is written in the Skrull prophecies. We're only taking what's ours.
Why?
To take over the world!
The whole point of the secret invasion was to destroy trust. With every team having damaged trust, they could not coordinate with each other.
I can't trust you. Any of you.
The Skrulls are a religiously guided race, but lean more towards religious fanaticism than peaceful spirituality. They believed in their cause so much that they were willing to die for it. They believed they were destined to conquer the Earth, with no desire to share it. In the comic, they explicitly say it is God's will for them to win, and that it is manifest destiny that to make their Earth their new home, even comparing their actions to that of human conquerors. Destroying the superhero community was a priority for the Skrulls. The goal was to thin the herd, make the humans and superhumans battle each other, so the Skrulls would take less casualties due to their small numbers. In my opinion, this makes the Skrulls more evil than the Kree, because unlike the straightforward Kree, the Skrulls wanted to cause as much damage as possible if they won or not to humanity without humanity even realizing an alien race was causing it.
My queen.
In the comic, Queen Veranke is the mastermind behind the invasion and personally wanted to bring her empire victory, so she chose the perfect human body to impersonate that could help her infiltrate the Avengers. And what a better body than Jessica Drew's, aka Spider-Woman. Moving on.
Down in the beta prison cell block. Enough of this. Claire, no matter what happens, they cannot leave this ship.
My name is Steve Rogers. I'm Captain America, and I'm a prisoner here just like you. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. But we've all got one thing in common. We're human. And right now, our home is in trouble. So whatever problems we've got with each other, we have to put all that aside. We have to work together to escape this place and get back to Earth.
Captain America and the other captives successfully make their escape from the Skrull ship, damaging it in the process and beginning their journey back to Earth. In the next episode, Infiltration, our expectations are subverted when a Skrull ship crash lands on Wakanda, with Miss Marvel attempting to scope out the alien ship, only to find not Captain America and the human captives that we saw in the episode previously, but instead Skrull Avengers that successfully trick
It's a
her.
little complicated. The Avengers were pulled into a place called Asgard. Things got crazy, but we pretty much saved all of reality. When we got back, though, we were attacked. Attacked by Skrulls. It's been months. It all blurred together. They kept us restrained. They kept Thor unconscious. But eventually, the Hulk got mad enough.
You just have to love the dedication of the showrunners to create convincing flashbacks and dialogue to make even the audience second-guess themselves with these fake Avengers. They convince Miss Marvel that Wakanda is now under the rule of a Skrull Black Panther and that he will use the vibranium mounts and weapons for sinister purposes. This leads to a full-out attack on Wakanda, where the real T'Challa shows just how ready Wakanda truly is for any invasion.
Defend Wakanda!
We've taken on Wakanda's warriors before, Skrull. Vibranium spears aren't going to stop us.
Eventually, the real Avengers do show up, and any confusion is cleared up when Miss Marvel sees the dead bodies of Skrull Avengers. This leads to an all-out battle royale that is very reminiscent of the Savage Land battle between the hero teams in the comic. After successfully defeating the Skrull Avengers, the real Avengers proceed to return to Washington, D.C., where Skrull Captain America tells them the final battle will take place. Now equipped with a Skrull detection device and a genetic reset beam, Iron Man tells Nick Fury that they are ready to expose the Skrulls. However, during this moment, Nick Fury realizes that Mockingbird failed to mention Hulk's capture, something important that Nick would have normally been informed about. It is here Fury, his angels, and Tony are incapacitated by Skrull Mockingbird. Tony's Iron Man suit is critically damaged by an alien virus, which will kill him if it's not undone soon. The Skrull reveals herself to be the queen of the Skrulls named Varanki.
See, I know everything there is to know about you and your armor, Iron Man. That's how we were able to upload the virus.
What virus? Jarvis!
Warning. Alien virus detected. All systems compromised. Arc reactor compromised. Biological systems compromised.
Due to Spider-Woman not being present in this show, Mockingbird was the next best choice, since she had already been introduced and she was present in the original comic. My guess is that Mockingbird was replaced after she discovered the Skrull Madam Viper, meaning that not even Fury's small group was safe from the Skrulls. Also in the comic, Varanki took advantage of Iron Man's predicament to twist the knife further by screwing with his head by trying to convince him he was a Skrull all along. While in this version, she just kind of takes the time to gloat.
It won't be long now. Can you feel it? I know you do. After all, we couldn't have done this without you, Anthony. You were what held the Avengers together, and without you, they were so easy to eliminate one by one.
Maria Hill is successfully able to evade the S.H.I.E.L.D. Skrull agents and is able to find Nick Fury's secret base, just in time to save his team.
The Skrulls have taken down the helicarrier, SWORD, a few dozen military installations around the globe, and something really bad happened to the Baxter building. Oh, and the remaining Avengers? They're about to get taken out in D.C. Do we have a plan?
Iron Man's the plan. All we have to do is save his life.
Due to Tony Stark being the only one with the ability to detect Skrulls, Fury and Hill attempt to save his life by rebooting his systems by removing his heart.
Almost there. Just bypass the last wire.
Which wire? Stark!
That one! Now we go take out every single Skrull on this planet.
Back in the game, Iron Man takes off for Washington, D.C., where the Avengers are combating the new and improved comic-accurate Super Skrulls. After a long battle, Skrull Captain America reveals himself to the Avengers and broadcasts a worldwide message, using his trustworthy visage to subjugate most of the humans to follow his lead and surrender to the Skrulls without putting up a fight, fulfilling the prophecy that King the Conqueror stated about Captain America being the cause of the destruction of Earth. In the comic, the Skrulls use multiple politicians and celebrities to attempt this as well, including the likes of Tom Cruise, Oprah Winfrey, Barack Obama, Paris Hilton, and even Tony Stark himself. They even succeed in turning humans to the Skrull side, with many people believing their governments and superheroes have failed them and are willing to embrace change, showing that the seeds that the Skrulls planted have proven fruitful.
The Skrulls, they want to help.
Where we've failed, they'll succeed.
They'll eliminate hunger, poverty, disease, war.
The Skrulls will save the Earth itself, and all we have to do is elect them. This is what they offer. Our ways aren't working.
I ask you now, my friends.
Embrace change.
I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you.
Captain America will convince them to embrace us, to embrace change. And they will listen. They will believe. After all, he's Captain America.
Captain America and the other human prisoners make their return to Earth and free the Avengers, leading to another battle.
This is our world, and you can't have it.
It does not matter, because none of you will leave here alive. You are outnumbered and outmatched. None of you will survive my Super Skrulls.
The turning point occurs with the epic arrival of Thor the Thunderer, who has returned from Asgard. We then get an epic fight that is closely reminiscent of the giant comic panel battle in New York, excluding the Watcher, of course. Realizing that her Super Skrulls are losing, Queen Veranke orders her AIM Scientist Skrull to use their failsafe weapon to kill all the humans. This failsafe is shown to be all of the orbiting satellites being converted into a sonic weapon that only humans can hear. Thor, being the only one unaffected, manages to destroy all the satellites, signaling the Avengers' victory.
I once designed a weapon that could wipe out every human life on Earth simultaneously.
Take them down! Now!
Captain America then does what he does best, giving an epic speech while beating Skrull Captain America to a bloody pulp.
There's more to human beings than our bodies and minds. Something you'll never understand. Our spirit! We never surrender. We never give up.
Left all alone, Veranke can only ask in amazement how the Skrulls lost, and unlike in the comics, she is simply knocked out by Ms. Marvel instead of being fatally shot. With the imminent invasion over, Tony Stark mass-produces Dr. Doom's technology so that they can track down all the remaining Skrull agents on Earth. With no other secure prisons for them, all the Skrulls and Super Skrulls are put into suspended animation in a special section of the Negative Zone prison.
Sucked into another dimension, but Invisible Woman was able to get in and help the Fantastic Four reverse it.
Brand was able to evacuate all the Sword personnel before the Skrulls took down Damocles Base. They're prepping a temporary base now to start the search for any Skrulls left on Earth.
I passed on my detection tech to their man Sidron. They're mass-producing it now. They won't be able to hide.
What of these Super Skrulls? Their power is great.
Agreed. We're holding them in a special section of 42 until we can figure out what to do with them.
We just saved the world from an alien invasion.
While rewatching the show, for the first time I noticed straight-up adaptations from the comic that just make the show even better. These similarities include the Super Skrull designs, which are exact adaptations from the comic book page, Maria Hill saying her exact dialogue from the comic in 2 instances.
Now this is over, I'm gonna get a t-shirt made. Know what it's gonna say? It'll say Nick Fury was right. I've had the same car since I was 19 years old, never had a problem. Yet this thing falls out of the sky every other Thursday.
Other similarities include the Skrulls saying he loves you in the comic, while in the show they say as it is written to exclude the use of God.
As it is written.
As it is written.
As it is written.
So it is written. As it is written.
Like in the comic, the Avengers become hate-filled and show no mercy towards the Skrulls. Nick Fury goes underground, starts a secret task force. Instead of the Howling Commandos, it's Fury's Angels. Spider-Woman was Fury's double agent in the comic book, but here Black Widow was the double agent and Mockingbird was the real Skrull. Iron Man is held prisoner and the Skrulls try to trick him, just like Captain America, who was being held captive, and they tried to trick him as well.
How stupid do you think I am?
Fury visits Maria Hill in her room and warns her about the Skrulls. A ship of Skrulls disguised as heroes crash land on Earth. Instead, the prisoners that were actually human arrive in a spaceship, but this time, they're the real versions. When they land in the Savage Land, that is basically when they land in Wakanda in the show. Nick Fury has this giant wall of suspects, so with all these photos of all these characters. All the Skrull prisoners are kept alive, even in the comic and in the show, I don't understand why they would have done that, but, that's the way it was. The Avengers are split into two teams. In the comic book, they're the Secret Avengers versus the Mighty Avengers. That's because of the mini civil war they were having. And then, of course, when Clint Barton gets accused, they end up having that exact same scenario where the team split.
Told you it wasn't a Skrull.
If we survive this, I'll apologize.
Also, Sue Storm is a Skrull that blows up the Baxter Building in the comic book. The Skrull Sue Storm in the show causes the Baxter Building to get sucked into the negative zone. Tony Stark's suits and technologies were infected by the alien virus that the Skrulls used against him, and it almost killed him in the comic book. And just like that in the show, Tony is infected with an alien virus that almost kills him. Skrull Queen Veranke attempts to convince Tony that he is a Skrull when he's captured, and that he could have been replaced at any time, and she's doing that just to mess with him. I think she kind of did something similar like that to him, where she's just kind of screwing with him. Spider-Woman is basically Mockingbird's role in the comic book, and then like I said, they use Mockingbird instead in the show. Wasp is turned into a biological bomb by Skrull Hank Pym in the comic book, and unfortunately she did die in the comic. In the show, she does not die, but a Skrull AIM scientist was the one who turned the satellites into a sonic weapon to kill all the humans, so that's pretty similar. I'm almost done, guys, I promise. Thor returns in an epic fashion in the comic and in the show with almost the exact same outfit. Abigail Brand, who's a sword agent, she plays a really big role in the comic book, but in the show, she's only instrumental during the Kree invasion in the episode Welcome to the Kree Empire, but she's kind of sidelined during the whole Skrull invasion, except for like a few cameos. Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, she's in the comic book and she's in the cartoon, and she's like, Nick Fury's second in command. Jarvis the butler, he's an actual butler in the comic book, like a human being, not just an AI. In that one, I think, he's like the main guy who's like blowing everything up, while in the show, it's S.H.I.E.L.D. and it's a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents like Quartermain.
The Skrull Empire has taken possession of your planet. I will require S.H.I.E.L.D.'s full surrender.
The Skrulls launched a coordinated attack on all the buildings that had really important resources. So, like I said, that's an exact thing from the comic book. Also, I just love the whole, quote, if we can't trust one another, then we can't fight as one.
I can't trust any of you. And if we can't trust each other, we can't fight anyone.
No one truly knows anyone. Not that well.
This is happening.
If Skrulls really are invading, then the world needs us. We're the Avengers. We're supposed to be better than this. If we can't trust each other, then we've got nothing.
We trusted them!
I know you did. And I'm asking you to trust us again. Let us help you.
We can trust no one.
Not even each other.
In conclusion, Secret Invasion to me is still one of the best comic book crossovers ever accomplished, and this animated series provided an excellent way to learn the summary of that story, making the watcher invested enough to one day read the actual full comic book story.
Have you, told the media about your experience, Lester?
Oh, yeah, number of times. But they think I'm some kind of nut?
Huh?
The Skrulls proved to be one of the best Marvel villains because they did succeed in causing the Marvel heroes to become distrustful of one another. They became hate-filled, they even became very bloodthirsty. And, I think that fundamentally destroyed their values and principles that just required years to repair, and not to mention the psychological issues that still remained.
The damage is already done, I think. Because you humans believe what you see.
The Skrulls knew exactly where humanity's soft spot was, and they hit it hard, which was the heroes of humanity, using trust to fundamentally wreck everybody. They did this with the objective of crippling humanity so much that they would willingly place themselves into the bonds of slavery, with no desire to revolt. They also showed the world that superheroes were the most distrustful due to their secret identities and higher-than-thou mentality. I think that's the whole point of the Secret Registration Act, with all the superheroes in the comic books. This even reminds me of a Fred Reichheld quote, without trust, there can be no loyalty, and without loyalty, there can be no true growth. It is because of the loss of trust in this situation, obviously, that the Skrulls came so close to winning. And yet, the Skrulls in the comic and the show both failed. Not because of any military might or secret superpower, but because they underestimated the spirit of humanity, the desire to fight for freedom. This was the one trait of humanity that the Skrulls were never able to replicate or even understand. It is because of this spirit that the real Captain America was able to escape and unite mortal enemies to save the Earth. Not to mention subverting Kang the Conqueror's prophecy of the Earth being destroyed, which would have happened if the Skrulls took over and the Kree Empire declared war upon the Earth. I am nervous about how the Samuel Jackson show is going to do this story justice, due to no A-list heroes being present, but I can't imagine they will focus more on the espionage intrigue of this story. But this was just such a perfect adaptation. It was similar but different in all the right ways that made the Secret Invasion feel fresh and well planned out. I can only hope the 2023 show accomplishes the same result.
I don't care one way or the other.
Now, I will leave it up to you to decide which show adapted the Secret Invasion comic best. Both are on Disney+, so it won't take much effort. Perhaps both will be great in their own way, but it cannot be denied that Avengers Earths Mightiest Heroes adapted it first, and that it was certainly more faithful to the comic, compared to what I've seen from the trailers for the Samuel Jackson show. If you have made it this far, thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy watching these shows.
Who else? Who else is a Skrull, and where are they?
We are everywhere. You will see.